Hello, everyone. This is Chala Dinkoy, CEO and founder of the Repositioning Expert. Welcome to another Tuesday Tea Time with Chala. It is winter, it is Canada, but we're doing pretty good. I mean, it was 2 degrees today, so supposedly some snow coming down soon. But hey, it's better than living where I used to live in Montreal, where it was like 6, 7 months of just white. Like you had white blindness. And I'm pretty sure some of you are in that position, some parts of the States probably, but take heart, just a couple of months left before it all melts away. So it hasn't been bad for us. I'm so happy. Logan and I are actually going to Houston for his break next month. So I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Friends and loved ones who are watching this and who are in the Houston area, we will be there. We'll be going to NASA. We'll be going around. We'll be in the Galleria area. I don't know exactly where that is, but I am looking forward to this. So let me take a sip and get right down to business. That's my protein. So you'll have to forgive the workout wear. Of course, I work out every day, but ever since my shoulder was hurt. So now I've got this amazing new chiropractor, and he's like almost completely healed. So I can go hard on the weights again. And I'm working on new ways of loading up on more weight. So it's really exciting. I'm feeling like I'm nervous to lift a little bit more, but I'm feeling a little bit more strength. So it's all good. I'm so grateful for my health. And, I'm so grateful that I'm strong, that I can lift as much as I can, and that I can, still command my body to do certain things. And I can only go up, honestly, from here. And yes, I know I'm 53, but like some of the people that I follow in the fitness world are much older than me, and they look much better than me. So it has nothing to do with age. It has to do with what you're doing, how you're spending your time, what you're filling your mind with. And it starts with mindset, of course. And then it's like giving your love to something, like giving your time, giving your energy. I mean, drinking these drinks every day, my protein. Let me take another sip. Okay, what are we going to talk about today? How to get decision makers to talk to you. As soon as we start working with a client, the first thing that they have to do is they need to go out and talk to 15 decision makers. And my clients, divide into two. One, they're very comfortable doing that. They already have like a list. They can already make a list in their mind of how they're going to get to these people, who they're going to talk to, and what they're going to try. They already have a very good idea of how they're going to do that. And most of the time they go out and they do it. And my YouTube channel is full of testimonials by people who partly knew, who to talk to. And these conversations actually turn into sales. So anytime you talk to a decision maker, you're in front of people in pain with the solution, it almost always turns into a sale. So that's one part. The other part are just paralyzed by this idea of having to go out and talk to decision makers. And that's why they hired me in the first place, because either on some level they thought I was going to give them some magic pill that they can then take and, would give them enough confidence or know-how, or they thought I would introduce them. But here's the good news. Whichever camp you're in, take, heart that it can be done. Whether you know nobody at all. And I have worked with people who just retired from a corporate, completely different industry and had to build a corporate network very quickly. I've worked with people who've moved from another country or another part of the country that they had zero, networks, that they didn't know anyone. And these worked. And this can work if somebody can drop you into the middle of a completely new country. And one of the things, like I have a Turkish background, so I have a lot of Turkish friends. So during their like political and economic unrest, a lot of, white collar Turks have started to come into Toronto. And what I've noticed in the last 10 years is some of them become like, plumbers and carpet cleaners, and nothing, no disparagement, but they're working at way below their job level of their previous earnings, where they used to be like CEOs. And then there's the other kind. They're succeeding just as well. They're making just as much money. They're thriving in this market that they never knew. So my wish for you is for you to be able to be dropped into any market, any country, any situation, and be able to go and meet decision makers, because I'm going to tell you how to do that. So here's the first way. So the number one struggle for clients and most business owners is how to get corporate executives to meet with them, to talk to them, to actually talk to them. And so here's some ways. The first one, of course, hopefully you have some networks. You're not, new to if you are new to that part of the world, it doesn't matter, because some of the people that I was talking about, they've used the people that they knew to find people that they knew on this side of the world. You don't know. The world is a global place now. So start with your own networks. It doesn't matter how, it doesn't matter where. It seems obvious, but there's a lot of people who are reluctant to do that. One, because they think if they haven't reached out to their networks or their friends or somebody they worked with in the past for like decades, they feel like it's rude to call them and ask them for a favor. And it's not. I've had clients who that was the only way for them, that they went out and they actually talked to people that they hadn't seen in years, they hadn't worked with in years. And they were offered like jobs, or they were offered, one was offered the summer cottage, I mean, amazing things can happen. So put the, negative thought about not reaching out to people you haven't seen in a long time because you're shy to do it, or you think it takes advantage of them and that it's unfair to them. People love to hear from people that they knew, unless they hated you, of course, then don't call them. But even if you had a passing relationship, people really want to hear from you. So the other reason why it's overlooked is because they haven't thought about it. They haven't thought about, okay, who do I know? So the reason why what we do works in terms of reaching out to our own networks when we work with clients is because we start with a very targeted purpose. So we actually we do a whole back of the envelope where we, blue sky every single industry and interest group, and then we rate them, and then we talk to only the top 3 industries that we want. So if you have a list of targeted industries, then you can actually go out and ask friends, who do you know in pharmaceutical? Who do you know in IT? Who do you know in, healthcare? This is the way to work brains, because open-ended leaves it too free. Confused minds can't make up their mind. They can't help you. So target with a purpose, then get advice on how to meet others like them if you actually find one. Or if you don't find one, talk to industries that they may work with and ask for their advice on how do I meet decision makers in this industry. Where do they go? Where do they network? And then ask for introductions. In cases where you actually know the person, they know, like, and trust you, tell them that you need to talk for 15 minutes, and then that's how you actually get to talk to them. And in this conversation, you're going to be vetting them for the pain. What is the number one struggle they're facing in their industry with respect to what you do right now? And what are some of the ways that you can give them some resources, some, advice or help? That's basically what you want to talk to them about. And that's what we do in the 15-minute conversation we have with them. So the first way to get decision makers to talk to you is through friends and referrals in your own networks, and just reach out to them. So that's number one. Number two, go networking. Networking where they are. Go networking in their industry associations, organizations. Drop in as a guest to the chapter meetings. Now, a lot of clients are like, oh, this is like cold networking. It absolutely is, but you're not alone. This is not like a wedding. I went to a wedding. I often talk about this. I went to a wedding by myself because at the time, my husband, who's now my ex-husband, he was going to a Formula One race, I think, and I was alone. I said, oh, it's a client's wedding, I'll go by myself. It was not like going to networking. When you're networking, the whole idea is to network. That's why people are very open to, they smile at you, they talk to strangers. It's an open thing, but not at a wedding. That's beside the point. But anyway, so networking, drop in as a guest to the chapter meeting, connect with the membership chair and ask for introductions. I often say that I'm thinking of joining, and if it's in my top 3, I may actually be thinking of joining an industry association, and I make the contact with the membership person, and their number one goal is to get more members. And so they're used to introducing you to other members. They're used to introducing you to the network, and you can be of use to them as well. So, and how are you going to be of use to them? You can become a member if, this is the right target for you. That's one thing that they're trying to always get new members. You can refer new people to get into the membership. You can, create some sort of value add for them by volunteering or getting on the board, or, if it turns out that these are your people, these are very, very possible things that you should be talking to them about. And therefore it's an exchange of interest and information and networks and introductions. That's what you're looking for. You can speak at a meeting. That'll help. You can sponsor a meeting or sponsor a table. You can run an event for them, like an executive roundtable. You could be running, and you can be running it in conjunction with the association as a value add to them and their meetings. But of course, it has to be around a topic of pain for that industry, and they'll be happy to help you facilitate that if that's the case. I'm gonna have to have another drink. Like the top congeals, don't even ask. But I'm still like chugging it because the bottom, like it sinks, the protein sinks to the bottom. It's kind of gross. Okay. Number 3, how to get decision makers to talk to you is walk a trade show. Now, decision makers aren't at the trade show, I am well aware, but you will meet with people in that industry, in that company, who will give you information, potentially even about the pain, or who can give you the executive names, because they'll know at least who they report to. They'll know, who is working in that company, in that area, and they'll give you some intelligence. And you can use that intelligence to actually do the actual outreach and say, I was at your booth, I met so-and-so, and the name drop and recognition hopefully will, actually warm up the call. And then you can actually introduce yourself and then say, they said that you were very knowledgeable about this, that you'd been working. So, name drop the person that you met, name drop, the circumstances and what they said. And then so they feel a little bit closer to you than just a cold call. Okay. I actually had a client who had just retired from a completely different industry that I was telling you about. And she lived in like the wilds of farm country. So she drove an hour to the nearest city to go to this trade show. And she met all these people that she actually got meetings with because she used this tactic that I was telling you about. And she didn't know a single executive before. She had never been in that. She had never sold to executives in her life, never to corporations. So that worked out really well for her. Number 4 way to get executives, decision makers, corporate decision makers to talk to you is you can literally cold call them, but you have to invite them to a topic of pain that we think we have a pretty good idea based on our research online or talking to other vendors, or just, talking amongst ourselves, or even current clients, that we have a really good handle on what their problem is, that we create events around the solution. So we can create an executive roundtable. So for example, I'm doing an executive roundtable with Allison QB from Capital One at the WeBank conference on the Tuesday morning, where we're going to be talking about, how to create multiple 6-figure funnels, add multiple 6 figures through repositioning. So that's a problem for all the members of WeBank, which is Women Business Enterprises, because they're constantly trying to figure out, how do we add new revenue? How do we add new revenue? So that's the kind of event that you should be holding and inviting people to. So the people that I'm going to be inviting are cold. Like, I don't know them, but they all have this problem, which is why they're all going to be gathered in this roundtable. The second way that you can, the second thing that you can invite them to is a speech around the topic that you think might be relevant to them. another client had invited prospects to what's called a power breakfast, which is again, like your speech, but it's your event, like you're educating them on solutions to the problem. And then a lunch and learn, that's just another form of a value added presentation, a value added something. And the last way that you can get decision makers to talk to you is actually being used, and it's called the account based marketing. And what you do is, again, that pain point is really critical. In fact, I almost did today's topic on how to figure out the pain, and maybe I'll do that next week. But use account based marketing, which is focusing on one company or industry, and then targeting the decision maker in that one company, in that one industry, and then sending them things or doing things to them or exposing them to messaging that will intrigue them so much that they'll give you a meeting. And I'll give you some examples so you can send a contextual gift. So one of my clients, an ad agency, wanted to talk to a jam company called Smuckers, and they sent them an actual physical toaster machine with fake toast bread that said, we'd love to meet up for a jam session. We'd love to jam about new ideas. So, and that worked. The toaster worked. They got a meeting and they got the client. You can do lawn signs. We actually did lawn signs with a client to, communicate to one of their most valuable clients about their anniversary. And they got a thank you video, or they were mentioned in a thank you video. You can send life-sized cutouts of CEOs to them or decision makers to them. It's just a attention-getting gimmick. It's not that expensive anymore. And no CEO that I know of wants to see, unless they're really, really in love with their image, wants to see themselves in a life-size cutout. But it's a way to get their attention. So remember, all we're trying to do is get their attention and get their time. So that's how you get them to talk to you. And then lastly, of course, I've shown lots of ABM examples of where companies have rented, space on billboards, bus shelter ads. They've wrapped buses and parked them right outside the offices of the decision maker, for example. And for example, they put a unique URL that has a unique messaging to them, with a presentation for how, their capability presentation for how they can help. I mean, those are big ways, and ABM is like the most expensive way you can go. But, you could start with what I said, which is, start with your own networks, start with where they network, start with talking to their other vendors, ask for introductions, be focused on who you want to meet, be very intentional about what you need to talk to them about, which is asking them about their pain and then telling them about how you can help with that pain. And then, commit them to, and yourself, to only like 15 minutes at a time for the first meeting, just to pick their interest. And then, if you don't know anyone at all, go to a trade show. I mean, that's why you need to pick an association, so that you can target nearly everybody there. And then, of course, you can invite them to something that's of value. So then they're willing to come and talk to you, and they're willing to actually meet with you. And then use ABM is the last resort, which is once you actually know who you're going to target and actually what they're suffering from, then you can create a pain-based message or a solution around that, that company's or that decision maker's specific interest area, and then get in front of them. So I hope that was helpful. Those are some of the ways that you can get in front of decision makers. If you're willing to, there's nothing that can stop you. And most of the time, it's just a matter of confidence and ingenuity and persistence, because they are notoriously hard to get a hold of. And even after you get meetings with them, they're notorious for flaking out on meetings. So I have a whole other presentation on how to get them to stop flaking out. In fact, we mentioned it in my masterclass last week. So I hope that was good. I hope you go out and talk to some decision makers, and don't let them get away. All right, everyone, have a good one. Talk to you next Tuesday.